A tri-state county is now in the spotlight more than ever, and leaders say that's just what was needed to boost tourism and its economy. Pike County, Illinois has seen a spike in tourism during the last year. WGEM's Claire Edlin explains why even more visitors are expected in the years to come.
That's what makes it famous.
New Philadelphia recently became one of Illinois' newest national parks, bringing Black history to the forefront in the land of Lincoln.
The true story, of course, is the McQuarters. That's what made it famous. This man, this slave, bought his freedom for his children, himself and his children, and moved out here in the wilderness and started this little town.
Phil Bradshaw with the New Philadelphia Association says the site started attracting more visitors when it became part of the National Park Service almost 2 years ago.
They have a passport, you know, your stamp for going there, and you can't believe how many people want to go to every national park.
People from across the country and world visit the first town platted by an African American, and their visit doesn't end there.
So they have to go to the Barry Library or the Barry City Hall to get their stamp. But people come and want to get that stamp.
Bradshaw says tourism has almost doubled during the past year. The hope is to keep that momentum and its economic benefits going.
I'm hoping within a few months we'll have some trained people that will be out there part of the time.
And relatively new additions to Pittsfield's Jellystone Park has helped its local economy in more ways than one.
I think after we added our 60 new cabins, plus with the addition of 2 rental houses for the season and our brand new water slides and splash park, it just increased our occupancy tenfold.
Jellystone reps say these parks across the country have a fan following of their own, much like national park enthusiasts wanting to check every site off their bucket list. And bringing in fresh new ideas during the off-season is bringing revenue to Pittsfield.
So in September, we have the Country Music Fest and Craft Show, and then we're also looking to bring in, fun things in the off-season, maybe a light show in December.
Claire Edlin, WGEM News, Pike County, Illinois.
Local leaders say that Lake Pittsfield visitors also have increased. That's thanks to its disc golf course. Organizers hope that money raised from a recent concert there will lead to a permanent stage for future festivals.